Yo, we got Gap City on the market. Gap City is the lamest city, all right? There's a lot of crappy cities in the world. Gap City is the worst of the worst. Miami, awful town. Orlando, not really my kind of town. And then Gap City is the worst city in the world. And man, and here we are, Gap City. So the market itself is not really Gap Citying so much as the stocks that we watch are. So if you look, it's Gap City, Gap City, Gap City, Gap City, New Jack City, Gap City, Gap City, Gap City. So it's got a lot of the range has been sucked out. So now what we're going to have to do is wait a little bit on some pulls and stuff like that. It's very annoying. I mean, there's just no getting around it. Especially after we had so much fun yesterday into the dump. You know, there was, guys, a nice dump into the close. It doesn't really mean anything. Like, you know, the market fell off like a few points. You know, everybody thought it was Armageddon because, you know, a couple yokels made it on, you know, Capitol Hill with their, you know, army fatigues or whatever. But in the end, the markets are very resilient. As long as we hold over yesterday's lows, I think we'll still be in a bullish thrust. We are getting into like a little bit of a grindy chop zone. But in general, it's been holding up pretty well. I think as long as, like, you know, last week's low was right around this 305. You know, I think as long as we hold around that zone. So if you're looking more like at a 30-minute chart, as long as you hold over that, you know, low from the 24th or 21st, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. So we're going to be longing and dinking and dealing and doing what we got to do because we're still in a bull market. In the end, that's where it goes. Now, the good thing is there's pockets of strength everywhere. You saw it yesterday. You know, battery stocks were hot. You know, you saw a whole host of like kind of random, you know, pot stocks were hot. So I think we still got some pockets of strength. So let's first look at, you know, the earnings plays, and then let's go from there and see if there's anything else that we can do. This CBAT has some rumor out that they're going to have like a deal with NIO. I believe that's what it was. And you can see like it's been sitting on some support. It's probably got some room. $11 to maybe $13, $14. $11, $13, $14. This thing's got some room. I'd say that's probably top of the list if we can get a little bit of a pull. You know, it stinks to chase it up. Hopefully it pulls. They did it sneaky yesterday. Like, it just sat around all day, dumped the 6, and then, right, they just pull it right back up. I think, you know, if it pulls, we'll look at it, take a shot. Hargaza, you did pretty good on it, though. So, yeah, no FOMO. To add CBAT to the list, this DDD, triple Ds. It looks like, man, I haven't heard of this stock in forever. If anybody remembers back in the day, we used to trade this thing every day for like a couple years. We were trading this thing non-stop. It had sick range, and then it died. If you look at the weekly chart on here, you're kind of getting over some levels here from the last couple years. You know, I'd keep this on the list. Like, my guess is, anybody have any short interest data on this? I'm too lazy to look it up, but yeah, 100 million share float, $1 billion company. I'd go with this bad boy. Good. I'd roll with that. This one is going to be a little bit of a trickster. I don't know what kind of liquidity is going to be in it, frankly. But if we get it, then, you know, we'll take it and do what we have to do with it, which is maybe probably an ORB if we get it, or the first pull. ORB or the first pull, I'd roll with it. Man, this GBTC is starting to get parabolic, huh? Man, this thing was like just a few bucks in October. This is like the Bitcoin Trust. You just buy this. This is not really like a day trading vehicle. It's more of a swinger thing. DXC. Potential transaction. I don't know what that means. Sun. Okay, so if you need a solar stock and you're like looking for a cheaper one, some of these little guys are going to start to pick up. When you have like a broad-based run in solar, so you can see like, right, some of the big boys are really cruising. Right, you got like nice trends in some of these. So I think what's going to happen is like, at the end of a run, or like when a run gets like really zesty, you start to see like a push into kind of like the crappier names, right? The cheaper names, as they're the only ones left. So you're going to have, you're going to probably see a push in something like this. It's already gapping up 9%. You can't really chase it. But if it starts to pull and hold, I think you're going to be good. I prefer to trade SPWR. It moves a little bit cleaner. Like when it goes, it really, you get a nice push on it. So keep SPWR on the watch list, I think, today. Now, it's gapping up like right into resistance pretty much. So it's going to probably have to pull, and then we'll have to see what's going on. But I think that one is going to be okay. ENPH is still a good trader. We were trading this yesterday. The one thing with ENPH that's good is that even though it's a little bit more expensive, if you can catch it at the right time, it tends to move 5-10 points like really, really quickly, and you can kind of catch like a nice little run on it. I think the one that still got room though is this CSIQ. You see it just coming out of your flag. You got room probably to the top of the Bollinger Band. I'd go with maybe like 61, on the day trade side. You can't necessarily swing trade any of these anymore because they're just too extended. The swing trade entries were a few days ago. The difference between day trade entry and swing trade entry, day trade entry, you can keep, once the stock breaks out, you can keep day trading it over and over. But when you have a stock that's like, when you want to enter a stock for multiple days, then you have to get it the first day of the move, right? So there's going to be always a little bit of a caveat when you're looking at these things. First day of the move versus day trade entry. I think that one looks still pretty good. So keep a few solars on your watch list. They're all going to, they're all looking zesty. You can throw some darts on those. Dun, 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 DGLY, junk, junk, junk. Yeah, so look, these are all the Bitcoin stocks. This moves pretty well, this Mara and this Riot, but they're really extended. Like, I don't know. I don't see the edge on these ones. Just, they're trading vehicles. You can trade them, you can day trade them back and forth as trading vehicles, but they're not really anything, Bitcoin at 40,000 or whatever. Like, you can't really, you can't really do anything with it. But it looks okay. Let's see here. Yeah, and I'd rather just trade the actual coin. We've been up late in our cryptocurrency chat room these days. We've been up late in there, and there's still a lot of good ones. If you want, to actually get into coins, then there's so many good ones out there. You can see here, like, the run on Bitcoin has been from the 20,000 break. It's been incredible. But there's still, like, some good ones left here. See, it's the fucking Nano. Look at this thing, right? So this is the one fun thing about cryptocurrencies. They move very clean on the charts. I mean, frankly, I find it a little bit easier to, on the technical analysis side, because it's like the only people that trade this stuff are rookies. And so you can get, like, really kind of clean plays. I think there's going to be, there's some ones that still have a little bit of juice left. I think this link is going to probably break out pretty soon. I'm in this Atom right now, like at 650 or so. This one looks pretty good. Like, you can even see like XRPs going. So you got a lot of these cheapy ones. I think what happens once Bitcoin starts a run, then you start to get a run in a lot of like these cheap ones. This 1 inch, I think this one's going to get back to, the 2s or 3s pretty quickly. Now I've been stalking this, hold on, let me fucking set this chart. Dun, 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 dun. The fucking scales on fucking this thing are weird. Yeah, you can see this thing's got like a ton of room to go. If it starts to kind of cook over like 80 cents, really the dollar's the sweet spot, but like I'd rather be in early. But I think this one, like if you talk about like a base breakout, if it gets over this, and this pattern's been working really well in cryptos, you know, if you get over this like 70 cents, 80 cents and hold, then you know it's gonna take it into the 90s. But really it's that dollar spot. If it breaks that, you're gonna see $2, $3, $4 like really quickly. This thing's got some heat, and there's like a lot of these little guys. A lot of these little guys are starting to bust loose. You can see like this algo, like I've been in this one for a little bit, and you get some good range. So keep an eye on those bad boys. They definitely got a chance on them. And you got to be trading them. Like that's where the money's at. You got wherever the money's at, that's where you got to be trading. You know, like you can sit there and, you know, rip like some RKT for 10 cents here or there. All right? Or you can get in and play with some passion and some movement, which is, you know, and some nighttime fun. Plus, ain't like any of you guys have any friends or girlfriends, so you might as well trade at night too. All right. Now, DM, I think this one's got a chance. It's a little bit loose right now. It looks like a swing, but if you start to see the compression on this one, right, you're absorbing here at like the 16 spot, this is going to have a chance. This is going to have a chance. If you break over that trend line, like you're going to definitely, I mean, you definitely could get a little bit of a move on this bad boy. I keep this on the list. To me, this is a little bit more of a swing trade. But you can see here, like, it does day trade pretty well. Yeah, you see this? Like, it bust. When it goes, it'll bust. So I think that one's going to be good. You know, this blink is still holding up. Like, you could definitely keep some of these battery stocks on your watch list. By the way, all these battery stocks are turds. You know, I wouldn't marry these things. You know, these are big, smelly ones too. But they're moving, you know, and whatever is moving is what we got to play. I think the theme for today is still probably going to be, you know, we got the solars, we got some battery stocks. We got a few things going, but nothing, this gap kind of ruins it a little bit. Now, on the tech side, I like this Chewy a lot. You've got a range break that's setting up on the 15-minute chart. If you go here, pull up a 30-minute chart, you can see here, 96 is a good sweet spot on this thing. Frankly, you know, if it can break and hold that level, I think you start to make its way back into this kind of 100, 105, 110. It's going to be, this thing is going to be hot, I think. You got a nice, this is what, like, you know, a little bit of a rounding pattern. So this one's going to have a chance. Keep an eye on this one. That's top of the list. Peloton, it got to about 170. And now you pull back to 140, the 20 SMA. You're starting to hold there. Look, if it remounts this 9 EMA here, you'll start to kind of push its way back. If you see here, like, you're starting to even out. So you were making lower lows. Now you're starting to even its way out. So as it starts to round here and it remounts over this 9 EMA, you're going to have a chance to get a nice one on this. Frankly, this one could turn into a swing if it closes well. I like this one a lot. And then add TDOC. TDOC, this is more on a weekly chart, but it's starting to bust loose. It had a $10 push yesterday, like Tyler just mentioned. You can see this thing went from 197 to 210. That's hot. You know, that's hot. If you look at like sometimes if you do like a swing trade and you look at a weekly chart, you'll see the angles a little bit more clean. You know, if this thing comes out of this range, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing hit 250, 270, like really quickly, like in a matter of, like days maybe, because of the range that it moves. You can see here the ATR on this is, pretty big. You get a big ATR on this thing. I think it's $8 per day. So it's got more than enough range on this. Flag this one too. So we got Teledoc, Chewy, Peloton on the tech side. On the battery side, we've got Blink 182. We've got CBAT. We got Butt Plug. Butt Plug it looks like they got a $1.5 billion investment in Butt Plug. That's incredible. Man, this thing used to trade at like $1 forever, and we'd always try to bounce it, and it never worked. Now when the trend starts, it's so hot. The news came out after hours, but I think, watch that 45 zone. If it starts to cook over it, like we're gonna have to show this thing what it looks like to be winners. Yeah, this thing is looking pretty good. QS, so Robbie, the easy bounce in QS is over. It can still be day traded, but the easy bounce is over. Like, we've been trading the last few days. It's popped from the low, 47 to 74. 47 to 74, that's 30 points on $47 thing. So, it's bounced 70%, 60, 70%. That's quite a bit. Now you're starting to get a little bit under resistance. So that you can day trade this, but the easy money is over on it. Meaning, like, the low risk money, the meat of the bounce is on it, is done. But you can still day trade it, but you can't swing it now. If you wanted to swing trade it, right, you got to get this thing down here, off the 50 SMA. Does that make sense? Lemonade is hot. Who just said that? Shit. The one thing with Lemonade, Mr. Podell, is that you have to, if you're going to swing trade Lemonade, you've got to be really loose on the stop loss. You may need the problem with this is you're going to need like a 10 to 15 point stop loss on it. That's range is like that big. But that is good. I would add that too. Good. So we got Lemonade. Yeah, a lot of these kind of tech stocks I think are due for a bounce. Chewy, Peloton, so on and so forth. We get it going. We get it going. I like that Lemonade. Robbie, did that make sense on the QS? Cool. Yeah, Paul is doing a webinar tonight. I'll post. I think I posted a link somewhere, but I'll make sure to get it to you guys. Ooh, Spaceballs. So Spaceballs has got like a nice rounding pattern. This is probably a little bit more of a swing. If it can kind of close over that 20 SMA, that may turn into a little bit of a swing. Let's see here. Junk, 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 junk. Dada, see, this is a rounding pattern, too slow. Baidu's a daily trader for us at this point. We caught a nice short on it at the end of the day. But it's just a daily trader. As long as it hangs out over this 200 spot, I think it's going to be still in play. Excel is definitely a bouncy candidate. We can't chase this thing up. We can't chase this thing up, but it's definitely a bouncy candidate. The key on this is if it closes over the 9, I think this turns into a swing trade. Kramer was just pumping this thing at $20. It's right back at the Kramer / Citron Brobang pump price. They were doing it around 20, 22. So I think that's going to be the floor on this bad boy. And so as long as it holds and absorbs at this 20 spot, like it's just a matter of time. Like it's whether it goes today or in the next few days, this thing is, as long as it sits there and absorbs at that 20, you're going to get a run as soon as it closes over the 9. It looks pretty good. Good. Fubo, I can't get a good read on it yet. We've tried to bounce it quite a few times, to be honest. Right? It's holding at that 50 SMA. This is another one. It's just a matter of time. If it can just hold over the 50, probably bust over this 30 zone. It looks like this 30 zone is a big supply zone. If it can hold 30, then I think it's going to be fine. But till that happens, then it's a no buenos. Good. Man, this is nice. You got 30. I don't think there's a trade in it till it kind of holds that zone, though. Till it happens, it's just going to kind of be, I think it's going to be a little bit choppy. What do you think? Yeah. Now, let's see if there's any gappers on the downside. Whoa. Any BBW? Let's see here. Ooh, Bed Bath & Beyond misses fiscal forecast, blah, 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 blah. Adjusted loss, pulled, projected EPS of 20 cents, they had a loss, net sales down, blah, blah, blah. EBITDA, blah, blah, blah. EBITDA, you're a beta. Okay. Man, you know what? I'd add this to the list. If we need a short, and this thing wants an ORB, we'll take this thing down. The issue on this, right, the big hairy butt on this one is going to be that it's a retail stock. Retail stocks stink to trade. They really do. Okay, we got... Man, the margin rates on butt plug are the worst. I really hope that's not the one that goes today. Fucking margin stinks on E-Trade on it. Junk. Alright, I don't see any good gappers. Yeah, you need this gap list. Hold on. Here, you can just download that. It'll show up the conditions and stuff for the pre-market gappers. So essentially, they're just 50,000 shares, price over $3, gap of 3% or more, blah, 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 blah. Go! Yeah. Alright. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Summary. For tech, we've got Peloton, Lemonade, Chewy. Alright? Peloton, Lemonade, Chewy. For batteries, we've got CBAT and Butt Plug. Alright? For earnings plays, we have BBY and DDD. Those are the faves. Then we have our ancillary plays that we always trade, which is like EV stocks, right? Your daily traders. So you want to all QS is a daily trader. So you always want to tier your watch list, right? Techs, batteries, earnings, then you got your daily traders. Then you want to start to really filter down through, okay, like what are my faves, right? What are my faves? What do I trade well? And you start to tier your watch list. You always want to tier your watch list to how do I trade this type of name, right? How do I trade this type of name? Because like there's a lot of stocks, like for example, like this CBAT is pretty hot, right? But I don't trade these kind of names. I don't trade these kind of names very well. So like that is not going to be like my first priority. Where like, like battery stocks, for example, like I never lose on those, right? Like, fucking never. So, like, that's, like Butt Plug and Blink, like, those have been, like, making mint for us lately. So, like, those are going to get priority. All right? That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Butt plug. What you gonna do? Yeah, Paul will be doing the webinar tonight. I'll get you the link. Bum, 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 bum.